You guys, welcome to your week. This is your pop culture roundup. Listen, I'm at my parents' house right now. Everything's just crazy. It's insane. Vanderpump Rules. That universe is falling apart. Everything is falling apart, but so bad it's good is your one constant. I mean, we have another constant because we have a guest with an amazing podcast with us today as well. She is one of my favorite people that I met right when I started doing this podcast through Instagram, and then her podcast, and then watching her launch another podcast that is just cuckoo bananas amazing with a person that I really truly love as well, Troy mceady. But her pop culture knowledge is second to none. Her passion for what we all love is second to none. And she's just a great person. And I can't wait to find out what she's been up to, her hot takes on all the good pop culture goss. But anyways, Kelli Williams, Laguna Biotch from Beyond the Blinds. What is up?
What an introduction, Ryan. Thank you so much for having me.
It all goes downhill from there. You know that there's nothing. You're in New York, which we talked about last time. You made the move to New York, and I thought that was such a awesome, brave, amazing thing. And you were just getting set up. And then am I mistaken? Did Troy mceady move to New York too?
Yeah, he just moved here last month.
Copycat. Are you what's up? Stop riding my jock.
I know. I was like, Troy, quit following me. Are you obsessed with me?
Troy, it's getting to be a little much. It's like,
we already have a podcast together. You can't be in the same city as me.
No, I mean, how are you doing? Just even as a screw the podcast, how are you doing? What's going on?
I'm doing well. Just almost a year in New York. I love it here. And yeah, just hanging out, kind of.
Listen, I just gotta rip the Band-Aid off. I hear you got a lady, you got a girlfriend right now. I saw that, and I know I was like, woo, Kelli. I was like, yeah. How did you guys meet?
Yeah, we met when I was in DC for the show. Yeah, we started talking September and made it official, and I feel like I'm blushing so much.
I'm blushing too. Look how red I am.
I know.
I feel like Louis from New Jersey. Yeah.
January we kind of started dating a little more, and then February it just was like, let's just do it. So it's long distance, but not too long. We're making it work.
That's and is it, relationships are so difficult regardless, but especially talking about the stuff we do and all relate, we talk about the Kardashian and Tristan and all of these dirtbags and Tom and Raquel and all of these people. What's it like then having an actual relationship? You're do you find yourself protecting it more because you see how many crazy people are doing crazy things out there in their relationships?
Yeah, maybe I do it a little bit more, but honestly, I feel like I'm the red flag in this one, so I'm trying to get better.
Listen, you are a prognosticator of everything that has come to light. Honestly, I was tagged in something with you a couple of weeks ago, I think, and it was, and this is something that you've talked about so much on your account, even on the podcast when you were first on, is Justin Bieber. Is that? Listen, let's start with history. Is that you had always said, Justin Bieber will never be able to complete a full worldwide tour again. And you said that 5 years ago. You said that because he was also he would have an IV bag around with him all the time, you would point out. And true to form, he canceled his worldwide tour again. Right. And now there's rumors, maybe a blind item or two, that he sold his music catalog for $200 million, supposedly, and he is going to retire from music. Is there any more things that you've heard about that or shed any more light on what that is?
I mean, when I saw he sold his catalog, it just made sense to me. And I know the way he sold it, he still gets percentages from his music. So it's not it's totally gone. He's still making money off of it. But I don't think Justin Bieber can tour. Physically, I don't, and emotionally, I think it's really taxing on him. So I would love to see Justin just be a producer or something, more behind the scenes, because he's super talented. He just
nobody can deny that, but
right.
I tend to see it as a more emotional thing than a physical thing. Mm-hmm. It just, and by the way, mental health is such a, I take that so seriously, so I'm not even joking on it, but it just seems like he cannot get past a certain point. Anytime he gets momentum in terms of touring, it seems like it takes such a large mental toll, but you say physical as well. What do you mean by physical?
Well, I mean, allegedly he's done a number on his body with partying and things like that. And of course now his Lyme disease acts up and he has a lot of different things happening.
Tricky Lyme's
The
disease.
tricky Lyme disease.
And
that
he
we
had
always
the
hear about.
what was the thing? He had like the Bell's palsy or the
Yeah.
Ramsey palsy.
Yeah, I don't think Justin's like a healthy enough person to go on tour. And I mean that more like physically and mentally. I don't think it's good for him.
Yeah, I don't think it's good for him either, but it's just so wild because you think of these people, that little circle is like Kendall Jenner, Hailey Bieber, you think of and they're always just, drinking the nicest Aero One smoothies with all the vitamins, with all of these things. And you're like, if you can't be healthy enough to go on, how the F, like you and Troy went on tour, you managed to survive, barely. But
and
you
I'm
did.
so unhealthy. I can't believe it happened.
I'm saying, like, take a toll on his body. Did you see my Taco Bell order last week? I just damaged that thing. But like, I always find it fascinating because you had been calling this for years. You said he will never be able. And the Justin Bieber of it all just always kind of shocks me because I saw that $200 million thing. And first off, I was kind of shocked that it was that low of a figure. Like I always I don't know why I always thought, oh man, it's got to be at least 500 million. But then I was like, does that mean he's so confident in this catalog and he knows he's going to have so many more hits in the future? So he's just going to retire from touring and keep releasing singles? Like, I just wonder what the mentality is and why he needed that lump of money immediately. I didn't know if there were money issues as well.
I'm sure it's something to do with money, but I also wonder if he knows that he's not going to sell the way he used to. Because albums aren't selling the way they used to. And I know his latest album with like Peaches and stuff on it did well, but before that, he wasn't really selling. So at least now, Baby can be used in a McDonald's commercial or something and he'll get money.
I remember when my little nephew was a little kid and his little kid song was Baby, and we used to play it all the time. And we had, who was the rapper that did there was like a version with, was it Ludacris? Yeah, Luda. Okay. So that was just, I wanted to start off with. And also, is Hailey okay? It just seems like they're so fragile. This Selena Hailey, as an older man, I keep trying to, because I have friends that are really into this, and I just try to get into it. So, like, how would you sell this to somebody of why this is something to pay attention to? But it's like two warring factions, and it feels like Hailey is not on the losing end, but it feels like Hailey always does the wrong thing and sticks her foot in it every time, in a way.
Yeah, I don't know, because Troy and I talk about this a lot, and this has been going on for like 5 years. And it seems like every 8 months, people are like, oh, Hailey's crazy. Hailey's crazy again, and this is why she's crazy. And Selena has to be like, no, be nice. And Justin doesn't say a word, So I'm kind of exhausted by the whole situation. And it's like, Hailey and Justin are married, guys. I'm sorry to tell you. I don't know what else to say. Is he like the best husband? Not in my opinion, but it's like Justin and Selena, in my opinion, are like one of the most iconic pop culture couples. So I get why people still want to talk about them.
In your mind, why were they one of the most iconic pop culture couples?
They started so young and were together on and off for 8 years. And we saw them kind of grow up together and go through, Justin's drug era, Selena's whatever.
I love Taylor Swift has all her really nice eras. Justin's is like drug era.
Right. And like Selena Gomez can somehow stumble on a red carpet and everyone's just like, oh, she's just exhausted. And somehow, like, she has the best PR in the world, Ryan. If there's one PR person, it's Selena
dude,
Gomez.
I have a friend that rides so hard for her where I'm like, I already like her. You don't even have to sell me. I'm good. Like, I'm not gonna. And she's working with Steve Martin Short. I'm like, this girl's setting herself for long-term success, because even dorks like me that don't fully know her music catalog, I'm like, oh, well, she's great. She's gonna be able to act. She's gonna be able to do whatever she wants. But do you also think it's like that thing where I was thinking about, like, our first loves in life, whether it be pop culture loves or real life loves, will always have that thing that brings us, like, so there's this kind of thing in our imagination that we think Justin Bieber is always like, he looks at Selena and there will always be these feelings he cannot get over. And it doesn't mean like he's currently in love, but there's that thing that will always be there because she potentially was the first love of his, life going into manhood.
Yeah, exactly. I think they were each other's first loves, and we got to witness that as, an audience. And a lot of people do have trouble letting that go. I mean, even watching One Tree Hill, people are still like, Brooke and Lucas should have been together. Like, there are just some things that people won't let go of.
No, and I guess that's the cool thing about pop culture and the scary thing about pop culture.
Right.
And you mentioned Justin being like a kind of, well, I don't think he's that good of a husband. And you were saying it once again, it's like these women, I think another recurrent theme in the world and in pop culture is that these women, they have to fight for their men's mistakes. And we even see this same theme popping up most currently in Vanderpump Rules. And if you're doing that at home, guys, it only took me 10 minutes to bring up Vanderpump Rules. So but I just find it funny that, we, including myself, have pitted Raquel against Ariana and all the women when, guys, there's a major asshole right here. Tom Sandoval, you could blame it all on him. Like, I still think Rachel's a complete dork, but like, he's the main one. What do you think it is where we completely like kind of excuse the male in a lot of ways? What do you think that is?
I mean, from my experience, just what we grew up watching, right? Like Kristen versus Steven, or Brittany versus Christina, or Lindsay versus Paris. It's never been like guys versus guys, really.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what would be? I mean, like the closest would be like when it got really intense, when it was like Tupac versus Biggie, like when it bad things, like
yeah.
But yeah, there wasn't like a casual like Ashton Kutcher versus Danny Masterson,
No, which would have been great. We would love to see that. Still to this day, Ashton.
It's okay to step up. It's okay to step up. If you want to speak
out against Danny Masterson, Ashton, the floor is yours.
Because by the way, this, in about 5 years, when Ashton is needing some PR, he will finally speak out against Danny Masterson and everything that he did. And we also know, if you just are privy to pop culture, that Ashton has probably been around a lot of times where Danny has probably not been a great guy,
Or in his good pal Wilmer.
Wilmer, like those stories about, he dated Lindsay Lohan when she was what, 17?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Beyond the Blinds has all of these stories. Their Patreon even goes darker. This week, I think you did an episode. Wait, no, that's how you started the season, was R. Kelly, right?
Yes. Yes.
Was that what is the darkest? Was that the darkest episode you've done? Or are you about to do a Jared from Subway episode?
No Jared from Subway yet. Honestly, Jared Leto was really bad. James Franco was surprisingly like one of our worst episodes.
Why? Just because of the amount of dark stuff?
Yeah, like the amount. And for me, he's somebody who could be like my friend's friend, right? Like more approachable than like an R. Kelly who's been like held on a pedestal since I was young, right? Whereas James Franco's like this stoner, goofy, funny guy that you kind of grew up watching.
Yeah. Well, and the thing with the James Franco one is, the R. Kelly one was so publicized, but in my mind, I still don't remember exactly what James Franco did, except that I believe he had encouraged people to potentially have sex on a film set. And he had I was trying to remember exactly what he did, but I do know that it was bad enough where he still to this day has not been able to truly work at the level he was working. And that really kind of says all that you need to know right there, because it must have been bad enough, because even people that have done, people are working again. And I truly don't believe people get canceled, but it must have been bad enough where people on movie sets found it hard to insure, found it hard to work with him. And that's the thing I keep wondering about is like, what did you guys uncover?
I think the fact that the Judd Apatow Boys Club broke up because of it, that says a lot. But allegedly when he was this is also like trigger warning stuff, but while he was teaching film courses, he would stimulate like sex acts on female
that was it
students and remove the film that was like covering private areas and just a lot of things like that.
Just creepy. Yeah.
And it's almost things where people could be like, well, she did do it in front of a class and it is James Franco. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, it's still assault.
Oh my God. I read this, or I listened to this audiobook on the drive down to Arizona, and it's called Unscripted, and it's about the media empire of CBS and Viacom, which was owned by Sumner Redstone. Now, if you don't know Sumner Redstone, if you guys are big Succession fans, I highly recommend you read this book called, because it really takes you into a family vying for power of a billionaire. And this dude lived till he was 97 years old. And to the end, he was like, he was like hiring ladies to do just insane things with each other, really, really nasty, dirty stuff. And he would just buy him houses. He's like, here's $3 million. And it would be like him and his buddy Bob Evans, who was the producer on The Godfather. And it was just, and it talks about that into the Les Moonves, who used to be the head of CBS, and his Me Too moment where he had potentially done a lot of weird things with women at all. And somebody, an old producer, went on record to be like, this is what we all did. What are you talking about? This is how Hollywood ran. And it is weird. And I'm so happy that we are in this is the era that we're in now, because it really was commonplace for women to be completely sexually abused in so many ways and made to feel like they owed it to these men to further their career.
And don't you hate that excuse? Like, we were all doing it. It's like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
Okay. You know what? Now that that's a great answer. You're right. Yeah. It is weird though, because you go back and check at your favorites. Like I was reading this, which hates, like I've always just been such a fan of Jack Nicholson. And then you go back and read everything that he had been a part of in the 70s with Roman Polanski. Anyways, this is getting completely off track, but I just always wonder, we see this now most prevalent with Vanderpump Rules, and you're caught up on Vanderpump Rules. Mm-hmm. When did you get into Vanderpump Rules?
Probably like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay, so you've grown into this.
Yeah, I've watched it a little bit earlier than these seasons, but I have seen like all the seasons.
What is your take? And by the way, my heading, if you're watching this elsewhere, is Ryan Galaxy Light Bailey, because you put a galaxy light on your Instagram story last night, Kelly, and I put one on my story as well because my friends wanted me to show. I want to preface this by saying I really like the galaxy light and I would consider owning a galaxy light, but I will never not be making fun of Raquel for the galaxy light. So there's a big distinction. But I like galaxy lights. So everybody in my DMs going, oh, I love galaxy. Like, I like galaxy lights too. I don't like Raquel. What is your take on this whole scenario? Were you shocked, or were you like, yo, that's Vanderpump Rules?
A little bit of both. Because I always kind of saw Tom, and I'm not condoning cheating. I've just, the past few seasons, maybe saw them as more like a business than a couple. Like they have a lot of businesses together. They do a lot of things together. They're on the show together. And they also seemed like a great couple that you're kind of rooting for. You know, it's really cool that Ariana didn't want kids and Tom was okay with that seemingly. And, you know, that's kind of what we saw. I'm shocked that Raquel went from like puppy party to this. But
you got to make sure when you get a puppy party invitation from Raquel, you go. If not, she will destroy your life. She will find a way to destroy you.
And I think I would love your opinion on this, because one thing that's really bothering me is now everyone's getting an excuse, right? Like Lala now has an excuse to be super mean. And even when they were making fun of her galaxy light, I was like, this is fun. You guys just aren't having fun. And
okay, wait. I have a piece of information about the galaxy light.
Okay.
I had Katie Maloney. I talked to Katie Maloney and she said, I like the galaxy light too. She said, the deal was, what was so weird was she was blasting EDM music like it was the Sahara Tent at Coachella at 5 a.m. She like, that was the weird part. Galaxy light, don't even care about. Okay. But the blasting of, so, and listen, I accept why Katie totally dislikes Raquel, but in these scenes, like we say, if this hadn't have come out, Lala looks like a creep. Lala looks like a bully creep that sometimes it's such a show with her.
Yeah. And even like now people are like, well, James Kennedy was in the right. No, he fucking wasn't. He still was verbally abusive to Raquel for years. Jax Taylor is still a snake of a human. Like,
all of these people are coming back. This is like, isn't it shock you when something pops off and everybody just, I mean, even me to a degree, we just all glom onto it. I mean, I'm just fascinated with it. I was so shocked that's why I can't. It's almost like I need to work this out therapy wise of like, and I'm just talking about on the podcast nonstop, but you have everybody coming back without the realization of all of their own past sins. And I'm like, Jax, you've cheated more than anybody and gotten caught more than anybody on this show. If we're supposed to learn anything from time, is that if you want us to accept you back, you have to realize that someday we'll have to accept Sandoval back. And I was looking at Schwartz's Instagram post last night. He posted his mom, got tons of likes. This guy, they're doing fine. Like, nobody cares truly. Like, there is no punishment for cheating in this world on a woman.
No, absolutely not. And I think people also forget, like, Ariana hated Jax, and he was always dismissing her sexuality. He was dismissing
For mental
everything.
health.
Everything. And people are like, well, look at him. He was like texting Ariana now. I'm like, shut up. Stop.
He's texting Ariana and then he's posting it so we can see it. You know what's like a nice
Exactly.
thing to do is just doing something and then not telling people about it. Like, you
And
know,
then
just doing it.
he was caught lying like 3 or 4 times during his Watch What Happens Live. So I guess,
Okay, you noticed that as well, right?
yeah. So I guess that, like, I don't think what Schwartz and Raquel did is right. I think, or not Schwartz, I'm sorry, Sandoval. I think it's so fucked up. But also, you can't just be like, well, everyone else is okay. It's like, no, James is still a monster.
James called Raquel's mom a fat fuck. He even his go-to thing in any Vanderpump Rules episode, if you ever want to hurt somebody, he'll call them a fat fuck. And he does this and that's what scares me. It's like, dude, if I ever make DJ James Kennedy mad, I know exactly what he's going to say to me. He's like, right. Get on the treadmill, you fat fuck. Nobody can get your big ass belly. Like, he's not. I love how we just say, okay, this person's good and this person's bad. It's like, there's so many different shades of gray here where it's like, yeah, Sandoval's really bad. DJ James Kennedy, really bad. He might be really funny, but really bad.
Exactly. So I guess I wish more people saw that. But yeah, and also, like, Schwartz gets away with everything because he just plays like almost an Ashton Kutcher role. He's kind of like, well, shucks, I don't know what happened there. I don't know. Like,
my penis fell into another. Oh man. I don't even remember it.
He shucks his way through life and people buy it.
Kelly, that's exactly it. That's it. And the thing is, you notice this, like, that's how life is too. And I've corresponded with so many women on DMs and like tweets about this. And it is funny, the tendency of women to completely forget, like, it's like completely forgive of like, we all make mistakes. And I'm like, we do all make mistakes. I forgot to pay taxes one year. Like, that was a mistake. Like, but cheating on somebody over 7 months with a close friend of that person, that's more than a mistake. That almost comes into like an evil category. But I feel like women, more so than men, are so willing to forgive men. And I don't know what that mentality is. I don't know if that's a patriarchy thing gone wrong. I don't know what it is, but I notice it more and more with the Toms because people want to forgive them so bad.
Yeah, I have no idea. I can't give you any insight on that because I'm like, fuck all of them.
Well, as somebody who loves blinds, TMZ, like, we're getting some of the best TMZ reporting in terms of like walk-up interviews. And the one guy I'm just fixated with, he's like, okay, Tom, okay. He always says, okay. I need to interview this guy so badly. And he'll be like, okay. How's Ariana, Tom? And Tom's like, oh no, I don't talk to her. You know, he's like, okay. Hey, were you cheating on Raquel? Did she know? He'll ask the most insanely personal questions, but he comes off kind of nice doing it. And I really like his whole style. Has there ever been any really favorite Walk and Talk TMZ interviews for you in terms of your celebrity pop culture knowledge? Something that always stands out?
Honestly, I loved Sheena's leaving the courtroom.
Oh,
I thought that was great. And then
that made me believe in like truth, justice, and the American way. Like, honestly.
Yeah. And then I know this is unpopular, but anytime Sam, Brittany's husband, tries to act surprised by TMZ, and like just the way he's like, whoa, guys, how'd you find me in this Whole Foods parking lot?
Like, and he's always like fully like he had just gotten finished doing push-ups to make his muscles ripped. He's like, anyways, Brittany's always like flexing, like Brittany's over here. And well, I was just talking to Jared Lipscomb, who was part of the Free Britney movement last week, and he was kind of updating me on the Britney of it all. And you know, she is somebody that allegedly went off their meds too, so has had some hiccups and things like that. But are you still seeing the amount of blinds that we were seeing about her around Christmas time of this past year? Like Perez was like, I know what's really going on.
Yeah, I can't really talk about that just because I don't look for her blind items. Brittany's someone who I just kind of like to like leave alone.
Exactly. But you know, it's like that's what freedom is that like, just, yeah, she'll let us know if she needs us. And also I just keep making the point of, yeah, she posts some weird Instagram stuff. So do I. Like, I have a lot of friends that post wild Instagrams. Like, there's a whole aesthetic sometimes that I'm like, whoa, but that's like the beauty about freedom is you can post whatever you damn well want and people can just deal with it or not.
For sure. And luckily I have Troy. So if I have any real hard hitting questions, I'm just like, hey, Troy, what's going on?
What is catching your fancy lately? What have you been obsessed with, or what have you found peculiar in pop culture lately?
Honestly, I don't know if this is pop culture, but I just flew through the Below Deck seasons. Like I was like a mad woman, but also Kelsea Ballerini's divorce. I was very interested in that.
Okay, this is where I know I'm fully getting older because Kelsea Ballerini, like I'm all of a sudden hearing Kelsea Ballerini everywhere. I was like, who is this girl? I knew she popped up in an episode of Southern Charm where she won an auction with Craig Conover from Southern Charm. But this divorce, she wound up on like Call Her Daddy. And all of a sudden I'm getting Kelsea Ballerini'd out. I didn't even know she was a singer. She wound up on SNL. Still don't know. Couldn't tell you a song I picked out of a lineup. Who the hell is she and why should I care?
I mean, I've been a fan of her for a long time. She kind of blew up right when I moved to Nashville. And I ran into her.
So she's the real deal. She's not a record. She's not an industry plant.
No, and she's also signed to a really small like indie label, which I like. And she hasn't like jumped the ship yet. But I love when women get revenge because Morgan Evans, her ex, went right on the Bobby Bones show and was like, I'm so heartbroken, blah, blah, blah. Here's a song. Like it's called When Was It Over? And everyone was like, poor Morgan, poor Morgan. Then Kelsea releases this EP and just shits on him. And everyone's like, I can't believe Kelsea did that. I'm like, he's the one who went on a media tour promoting their divorce a week after it happened.
Okay, you sold me. Wait, first off, what the hell is a Bobby Bones show? First off, I'm like, Bobby, who is Bobby Bones?
It's no good, even though people are going to be mad that I said that. He's kind of like the country music Ryan Seacrest.
Hey, this is Bobby Bones coming. Okay, Bobby Bones, great. But they have dueling revenge albums. They have dueling songs about each other's relations. Their relation fully in. And did this guy, was he a cheater?
No, he wasn't, but he was like 9 years older than her, I believe. They got engaged after 9 months after meeting. And again, I've been a Kelsea fan for a while. And I always thought it was kind of like weird. He kind of would like open up for her on tour. And you know how all like fan groups have their own name?
Yeah.
So hers was the Legends. She always says like Legends. And then he started calling his fans Legends. And I don't know. There was just a lot of, in my opinion, coattail riding.
That's like Tom Sandoval hopping on Ariana's drink book, her cocktail
exactly.
book. That's exactly what it is. Get your own idea, dude. But then she went and started dating, is it Chase Stokes?
Yeah, they have some
spotted together.
They have some interesting paparazzi pictures, and it looks like
completely fake. You mean completely staged?
I don't know if they're a fake couple, but they're definitely loving the photos being taken of them.
I was thinking of that too in regards to Selena Gomez, the rumor with she's potentially dating Zayn right now. And I was like, because we had that rumor about the chain smokers guy, and we had I'm like, do any of these people ever in real life, do you ever consider just not dating and also dating somebody that's not nobody knows, like just Randy from Starbucks? Like, why does it always have to be somebody huge? And that sometimes leads me to believe that it's fake. You know, when it's like the guy from the Chainsmokers, then Zayn and all of this stuff. Do you believe that Selena Gomez is dating Zayn?
I hope not.
Just because Zayn's very troubled. Zayn's a very troubled man.
And so
allegedly.
Is Selena. So is Selena. Selena doesn't get as much heat, but Selena's, you know. And I know people love Selena, so I feel like brave saying that on this podcast.
Yeah, guys, whatever Kelly says, I do not endorse, and no way to so bad it's going to endorse these opinions. No, but I just wonder, what is that desire to keep dating famous people? I mean, we see it time and time again. Even like Emrata in this past week, there was the big stuff with Harry Styles and Olivia Wilde, where she was caught in Japan. She was out in the open making out with Harry Styles. I wonder what that desire is to just hook up with famous people.
I think right now it's kind of like a camp thing. I think it's kind of like, no, now people can tell what PR is. Let's be the most PR we possibly can, because it still makes the people talk.
Well, we were talking about earlier about in terms of there's so much negativity surrounding pop culture sometimes now. You know, I think it comes from a great joy, but right now I feel like, and myself included, I feel there's so much anger out there. And also, I don't know if I would love your opinion on this, is I was talking about this concept last week of everybody is a pop culture commentator now. Everybody is a pop culture expert. Like I can't go on Instagram or Twitter or like that without like 30 new accounts and be like pop culture historian, pop culture critic, pop culture this. And I'm like, should we start giving out licenses for this stuff? Should this be regulated by the government in some way? Because I mean, are we all just critics now? Like, I mean, there were people like us that I've been talking with you and Troy and all this stuff for like so many years that we were obsessed with this, but now it just seems like everybody's obsessed with it. Everybody, but not even in a way of, I just like to listen to shows and read the magazines. They want to be involved in the aspect of talking about it, dissecting it and all that stuff. Do you love that aspect of this? Do you feel any of that?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think when you have a pop culture discussion, especially on like a podcast like this, Ryan, you have a huge audience, right? I think we talk our opinion, so people should be allowed to express their views too. But it definitely does feel very oversaturated.
I think that's where the negativity creeps in too, because I don't know if we were ever meant to, and I never knew podcasting would exist when I was younger. I don't know if we were ever meant to hear this many opinions about these things. And there's a separate slice for like anything that you love, you can find now at least 1,000 people that will have very passionate discourse about that thing. And I just wonder, what's the evolution of this? If it feels like this oversaturated now, I don't see this slowing down at all. In fact, with the Vanderpump Rules thing, I was like, wow, this really reignited people's passion in a different way of just going back to old episodes, dissecting all the stuff that we have always loved to do. You see how much, but I do notice that negative slant towards it, where it's more getting into arguments and and I just wonder if that's the people behind social media, the Elons and all that stuff. I wonder if we're just kind of being made to just argue with each other about this stuff.
Yeah, I don't think people like to listen anymore. I think people just wait to speak.
I'm sorry, say what you said again?
Exactly. Like, say if I had like an opinion on Hailey Bieber and you disagreed, you and I could probably have an okay conversation back and forth. But a lot of people, I think, hear that and immediately they're like, oh, Kelly said fuck Selena Gomez. And that's not what I said.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. It's not that cut and dry. Like I said earlier, there's so much gray. And I think that's where we could really that's where I think what would be really cool to start studying in pop culture is that gray. We're so used to absolutes. It's like DJ James Kennedy has to be good if Tom Sandoval is bad. And it's like, no, they can both be bad and they can both eventually work towards being good. But I was thinking about that concept earlier, and this just from being a Laguna Beach fan and stuff, of like on the TV shows themselves, they're never, these aren't teachable lessons. Like the characters never learn lessons on the show. Like we might by accident learn lessons, but that's a bedrock foundation of any reality show, is that these characters will never grow. Even in Vanderpump Rules, you had season after season of Jax Taylor saying he's a work in progress, he's a work in progress, he's a work in progress, but he kept doing the same mistakes over and over and over again. And I just wonder if for some reason, when you get on a reality television show, you're kind of stuck in Arrested Development. Like you freeze at the age that you started on TV and you never grow past that age.
That's so interesting. That would actually make a ton of sense.
Right? Like I was thinking, because you started off as just the biggest lover of Laguna Beach and the hills and stuff like that. And to look at the cast now, which I feel like they're at the age of Vanderpump Rules, where they're at right now, but they've already been on the show 20 years, is that now they're all getting handed podcasts and doing, by the way, I love that it used to be reality television might have been a feeder system into actual television. Now reality television is a feeder system into podcasting. I'm like, Kelly, do we need a reality show just so we can make sure we can survive in podcasting? Because it seems like that's all it is.
Let's do a reality show, Ryan, you and I.
You know what I was thinking? I don't know why I'm whispering. I hope my parents don't steal this idea. But what if we rented the summer house and we put like 8 of us in there, all content creators, just a bunch of booze. We have to go I don't know, do balloon tosses and stuff like that. And then we just get into pop culture fights at night. And we just like, can you imagine Troy, just slapping somebody because of a Britney Spears comment? And we just get into pop culture arguments and then just massive hangovers during the day. And then we do it all over again. And we do it for 9 days straight.
That would be the most fun Hunger Games ever.
By the way, just bury me there. I know I'm not going to make it out alive. It's going to be Vicky Gunvalson being rolled out, of like he served his pop culture time on this earth well, but now we must get him back to the dirt. But like that, I think we've got to figure this TV thing out, because I notice every reality star getting a podcast, and it's like, I was thinking about that as like the two Toms, they're destined for a podcast, right?
Oh yeah. And they're destined to be together.
Dude, if they were gay, I would love it so much. Like, and I tell you, like, that's like so offensive to gay people, because I know they're not gay, but I would love it so much. I would love it, like, if they could just embrace each other. Like we see in a trailer for one of the upcoming episodes of Vanderpump Rules, where they just shot a couple weeks ago, where Tom goes over to Schwartz's and he's crying, and I'm like, how are you crying when you created all of the mess that you made this mess for yourself, and now you're crying on camera to your best friend? And I was like, how performative is that scene potentially going to be?
You know what's interesting? Going back to your idea of like having an influencer house that's not like the hype house, it's like us older people.
No, regular people house, yeah.
I wonder how that would translate, because these reality stars who get podcasts, you kind of already assume what they're going to be like, and they can carry that over. But your podcast, I like to think I'm pretty much myself, but there are some things that I hold back on a podcast. So it'd be interesting to see like our actual.
Hey man, you're gonna be the you're gonna be the Trishelle of our hype house, and you're just gonna be. Well, that's the other thing too, because I was thinking, oh well, it's not as fun, but I'm like, I'm watching Summer House this season, and so are you, and it's not the most fun. You're seeing like, but like, wouldn't it be great if like people are already listening to our podcast about pop culture? Why don't we interact as a group of people that love this stuff and get into actual pop culture arguments and conversations? Because people listen to these podcasts either, and we just add the visualization on there. We add some binge drinking on there, and already we're better than this season of Summer House.
I know, I'm sure people from Bravo listen to your podcast, so that's our official pitch. If not, we'll just have to do it ourselves.
Andy is so threatened by us right now. Andy is so. What if we go? What would our network be called? Like, what is it? I don't know. We'll do
Bravo. It's called Oh No.
Oh no, bro! Exactly. Oh no. Okay, so we had that going on. We have a lot of other stuff, but I've been such in Vanderpump thing that I've been trying to come out of it, and like everything's not hitting like it once did for me in terms of like my interests, because I've been so in this story. But
also like you're friends with these people.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like, I will say, like, I've now communicated with Ariana a bunch of times, and like, she really does handle things with such grace, and that's not to take away from the pain, but also what I do love about these shows and what I love about pop culture is the ability to change your mind. Like, I wasn't the biggest Katie Maloney fan a couple of seasons ago, and this season I'm a Katie Maloney fan because I'm just like, damn, she had to, like, you kind of see what she was working with and dealing with and how that could potentially bring her down. And now it's like best she's ever looked. But I mean, but the Lala of it all, because she has such broad support, Lala, but at the same time, I was talking about glomming on, is that we now see Sheena's hitting that podcast hard, Lala's hitting that podcast hard, everybody's selling merch, everybody's doing this. At a certain point, this is the question, just being a pop culture historian, when does it go back the other way? I was thinking about the balance of like, we've already potentially reached the saturation point. When does it go to complete hatred of, do not mention that show, do not mention any of them, I'm tired of it, I'm over it, they all suck? Because that always usually is it. It's like intense love and then intense hate.
I don't know. Maybe after the reunion. I think there's still so much we need to see on the show. They still have so many episodes to air. I think it has to be well after the reunion.
I just wonder if we're going to be like, if we're going to be so tired of the story by then that once we get to the reunion, we've heard so many rumors, we've heard so many things that might have happened, might not have happened. I just wonder, because I've seen it happen time and time again, not with Vanderpump Rules, but with everything pop culture. It hits a certain point, and then all of a sudden you're like, I've heard that Nickelback song way too much. I hate Nickelback. Like it becomes something really different.
And I have seen people being like, you know what? Or especially on Twitter, not so much Instagram. They're like, maybe we like Raquel a little bit. Like maybe at this point,
dude, that Galaxy Light thing, people are like, I think she's right about the Galaxy Light. I'm like, well, that's not a political stance. She just had a Galaxy Light. But anyways, right. I said, I like the Galaxy Light too, but it is that thing of, when you're in the gutter, you have nowhere to go but up. Like people are starting to go like, well, she's a confused girl and she's hanging in there. And it's weird. You find, and I feel like that's a real good example of our political system too, is that no matter what people do, you'll be like, it's like forgiving the Toms. People want to forgive and go against the grain potentially.
Yeah. And then you also see the complete opposite side where I actually thought it was hysterical when Raquel was like microwaving her dinner drunk. And there's one line where she's like, but I didn't put tinfoil in because Katie said not to. And people are like, she's so fucking dumb. It's like, she's drunk. That's funny. Like, you can laugh at what she says.
Well, by the way, yeah, like, dude, there was one time, you guys remember the George Foreman Grill? I used to live right down the street from the Viper Room in my like late 20s. And I would get hammered at this bar called Barfly because my friend bartended there. I get free drinks. Went there. I was trying to be healthy at like 3 a.m. and I decided to put a couple pieces of salmon on a George Foreman Grill. And then I passed out. I wake up to a smoky apartment, alarms going off everywhere. And the fucking salmon were these 2 briquettes. And like my roommate got home and she was livid with me for the next 2 weeks because our apartment smelled like burnt salmon. We had like cats coming from everywhere just to like come up to the door. It was one of the craziest things. So like I've done some stupid shit in my day, but when somebody's then cheated on this person, on Ariana and all that, then you're like, she's gonna burn down Hotel Paris. She doesn't even know how to put things in her. Like it takes on a life of its own then, because now you're deceitful and dumb, or you're just deceitful and you're planning this huge evil thing behind Ariana's back. Like our minds go crazy with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I don't like Raquel. I don't like Tom. I don't like other Tom. I don't like Jax. I don't like James.
By the way, I was like, I was asking myself this of like, my friend asked me who my favorite like housewife was, which I can never answer that question anyways. But then I was like going down and I was like, I don't like her. I don't like her. I don't like her. And I was like, what? I don't like anybody. Like, what is like, I was like, but then there's certain seasons where I'm like, I really like that person. And then the next season, I don't like them all of a sudden. You started watching Below Deck. What do you like about Below Deck that is different from like The Hills, Vanderpump Rules? Because I think Below Deck, by the way, I want to remind you guys, is one of the highest, if not the highest rated show on Bravo, yet it doesn't get the Twitter discourse and the Instagram discourse that all the other shows do, but it gets the ratings. What do you like about Below Deck?
I like that they switch up the cast. You know, there will always be like 2 people, maybe 3 that stay on, but having new people on is really refreshing.
Yeah, like they'll have like a couple new people, like Below Deck Sailing Yacht, which you love, like I love. And they have a new season coming out in a couple weeks, and they have Captain Glenn back, they have Gary back, they have Daisy back, then they have a new chef, but like, you know, those are like, okay, that's enough to get me in for the season. And then I also think there's this thing where I'll never sail one, but I like a boat. I like to see what close quarters they're staying in. What kind of food are you doing? I hate tablescapes, but why not try one? You know, like I like the elements of it that are like that.
And they also party.
Yes. Yeah. These guys and I always feel bad because one of them has to stay up while the guests party. And you know, like if I ever got the like privilege of being on a yacht, I would be like, I'm not going to, it's like when I flew first class one time in my life to Japan, and I was like, I'm not going to bed. Like I had everything. I had every port. I said, you give me everything that can come with this. I watched every movie. I was crying. I was like, I want to live the experience of first class. So if I was, I'd never go to sleep.
Right. And I think as the audience, we hate the guests more than like the people who work on the boat, which is fun.
Yes, it's like an upstairs, downstairs, like a Downton Abbey kind of a vibe of the employee. Yeah, that you're right. That is actually the thing. And we know them. And so there's also another thing that I think housewives and stuff like that has made very normalized is that, you know, there's not a lot of crimes involved. Maybe the guests are involved in some shady dealings to afford the yacht, but like Gary from Below Deck, he's like, you know, going to try to hit on you and like that, but he's potentially not stealing money from older people. So it's like, I never have to deal with worrying about Gary and potentially bilking elderly people out of their retirement funds.
Well, we hope not.
That's what I say that now. Gary's going to be arrested next week. So Below Deck you love, and you went through all of it. What made you choose Below Deck? Because you said you watched all of it in the last year.
Honestly, my girlfriend wanted me to watch it. Troy raved about it. I've heard you talk about it. My friend Megan. I was like, okay, guys, I've caught up on Summer House, caught up on Vanderpump Rules. I guess it's finally my time to start a new show. And I heard a
What?
lot about Kate Chastain. I was really curious about her.
Yeah, I love it.
And
Wait, why is Captain Sandy the worst captain of all time?
I don't know her. I haven't got to
You
that
didn't. Oh, you didn't watch Below Deck Med? I was actually
No.
making a joke, but you okay? So you watched Below Deck and Below Deck Sailing Yacht.
Yes, so I haven't gotten
Captain
Below Deck
Lee.
Med, but when she did step up for Captain Lee, I tweeted and I was like, I kind of like her. And someone was like, I've never heard anyone say that before.
Yeah. She'll find you and she'll be like, by the way, I love Captain Sandy. Followed me once, and then within a week, she was like, "This ain't my cup of tea." Like, I always like when they'll be like, "Nope, this isn't what I thought it was going to be." Like, I always want to warn any Bravo celebrity of like, you might not want to do this. This is going to end badly for both of us, and then I'm going to feel bad. And like, have you ever? Because you get followed by celebrities and stuff like that. Have you ever? What have been the crushing unfollows by a celebrity?
Not really unfollows, but Spencer has had me blocked for like 5 years at this point. Jay Cutler blocked me, and that one I was kind of like, what the fuck?
Did you make fun of his derpy face? You were actually on my show a long time ago. Remember when we were talking about the symbolism of the photo and like the Da Vinci Code photo of he had the drink and he was potentially with one of his ex-wife's friends in the desert. Yeah. And you were telling me, explaining what all of the pictures meant. But I wonder if Jay Cutler, I think Jay just has that derpy face. Like I have a derpy face too, but he's like,
yeah, he's very unlikable. I think people here probably love him. They're like 1 star for Kelly.
Wait, why? I feel like we all should band-aid. There should be things we disagree on. Jay Cutler, not a likable guy. Like, I mean, is it because we dislike what's her name from The Hills so much? Is it? I mean, Cavallari.
I don't know. I don't dislike Kristin. I just dislike Jay. Maybe because honestly, I lived in Nashville and I would hear a ton of stories about him cheating and all this stuff, and he just like was rude to people. And I understand everyone should have their own life, right? Like nobody really owes you a picture if you run up to them at dinner. I get it. But like he would be rude about it. And one thing he does, which drives me crazy, he'll go to Losers in Nashville, which is a bar, and he'll stand behind the actual bar where like the bartenders are. And if anyone like asks for a picture, he's super rude to them. I'm like, then why are you standing where everyone is?
And I heard he would do that thing where he would go on like finding location of people in Nashville and stuff like that and like DM with them, or I'm going to be at this bar. Like he would. And I feel like in this day and age, it's like, get it. Like I get it. Sex is fun, like potentially, right. You know, so is TV though. I love doing, you know, watching TV, eating's fun. A lot of fun stuff happening out there.
Great. All of it's great.
But if you're a celebrity on top of that and all that, why are you just having, I mean, I don't know if we're in the days of random sex anymore. It just doesn't seem like it's, you know, you're just going to end up being talked about like some big jerk. And who wants to go through life being shit talked about, like being creeps to women?
No, I agree.
I mean, I do. I'm saying I want to be but if you're famous, I'm not famous. Talk to me about Taylor Swift. How do you view the Eras tour right now? This was the 3rd weekend of the Eras tour. How are you feeling with how she's gone about the Eras tour? What are you hearing? Inside information. Everybody's fascinated with this dive. She just dives right into the stage. Nobody can figure out how it's done. I've watched too many TikTok videos. I'm like, who cares? She just lands it. She's not like magic. She's just like, I mean, she's magic, but she just lands on a mattress. You guys just calm down.
And then it flies under the catwalk. That's how it works.
So like, there's not like a science to it. Like, obviously, like, she's not like an actual witch. Like, it's explainable.
There's like an LED stage, and that's why it looks like you can see her swimming.
I've watched way too many TikTok videos where people just don't seem to get it. They're like, this is witchcraft. I don't even get it.
No, I'm so excited. I was lucky enough. I'm going to 2 shows back-to-back weekends. I know.
I couldn't even get that verified fan. I couldn't get the verified Ticketmaster. And I know, by the way, I know a couple of people from Ticketmaster listen because they've reached out, but it's like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to be nice, but verified sale didn't work for Beyonce, Taylor, or Bruce Springsteen for me. And like, I've never had this problem in my life, and I can't do $1,000 tickets.
That's very fucked up. I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, they always are like, you're on the wait list, and they're like, sorry, bud, wait list didn't go through for you. And I'm like, of course it didn't, because nobody's going to not buy the Taylor Swift tickets.
Right. No, I completely agree with you. Like I did get verified fan for the Gillette show, and then I have Capital One card. So I was able to get the Capital One
You and
sale.
this baller Capital One card.
Listen,
Jeez.
I got that
And I
card
bet you
for-
got good seats too. I bet you got good seats.
Yeah, but I got the Capital One card for the Lover Fest. So I had like those tickets.
People forget that there was a whole stadium tour, but right before COVID, they had like the saying it was going to be Lover Fest Day, a couple cities. She was going to do a big thing. I mean, she's doing a big thing right now, but, and then she, COVID happened and she just ended up releasing 3 more albums. So there never was an official Lover tour. So you're really excited for this whole thing.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm so excited. And I'm excited to be at a big concert like that again.
I was wondering if you still like her and love her and like, because the fandom on that is just such an extreme, and I don't think it's bad. I've never seen anything like it. Pales in comparison to Harry Styles. It pales in comparison to everything out there right now. I mean, she's just huge, and I don't know how her brain doesn't explode on a daily basis with that many people wanting a piece of you or something, and she seems to do it all so well. Like, what do you hear?
I mean, I don't know. The Swifties and I are having some issues. I mean, I've been a fan since MySpace, right? Like, I liked her.
Like, dude, we've had full conversations on how much you love Taylor Swift.
And they're the ones who got me banned back in October because I said I didn't like the album Midnights. A bunch of Swifties put me on Reddit and reported my account. So listen, you're allowed to not like someone's latest album.
Once again, listen, wait. I thought Midnights was a banger. I think one of the best things I've ever heard in my life, and I do not want to be on Reddit. And it's, but no, I know what you're saying is like, it's okay to dislike, like not everything's going to hit for everybody all in the same time. Like I would love for that to be true, but that's just not the case. But people actively got your account taken down because you did. Are you sure it's that?
I mean,
she was and I also posted a bunch of nudes. I don't know. It could have been one or the other. Like
I was like bragging the week before. I'm like, I had my account over 5 years. It's never been taken away. I haven't been canceled. Now it's like next is me getting canceled. That's my next step.
That would be if you got canceled for disliking an album, and then it's like, and Taylor's like, I can't save you, Kelly, not this time. It's a great album. It's a great album, Kelly. You don't get it, and it's so sad.
But no, I'm super excited. I think it's fucking crazy. She's performing 40 something songs. I think that's insane. And I'm sure people are still out there being like, she's not even talented. I'm like, what?
No, at this point, I feel like it's just, like, I really, it's interesting in this day and age for like there to be very little hatred about some. I mean, I see it off like, oh, she's just not my thing, but I don't see specific hate. I mean, I also don't go looking for it, but like, even like, I like Taylor Swift already, but to me, it's like, damn, you keep raising the bar. Like, I never thought Beyonce could feel the heat from somebody like Beyonce. Like Beyonce must be like, shit, wrong year for Renaissance, man. Like wrong. Like, I mean, like everybody's still excited for Beyonce's tour, but there's so much heat over the Lover tour that I'm so curious when Beyonce tours with Renaissance. It's going to be very exciting, but I wonder if we're going to bring this sort of heat to that as we do to the Eras tour.
I know. Don't you kind of wish that we could all just be like, you know what? They're both great shows.
Yeah, you're right. You're both great. But once again, right? DJ James Kennedy being bad, Tom Sandoval can be bad. Beyonce can be a genius. Taylor Swift can be a genius. One doesn't have to fail for one to succeed. And I feel like that's what we pit people against each other. And even in my head, just then, I was like, I wonder if people are going to like that.
Right.
We do have the emotional bandwidth to like two things intensely.
Completely. Yeah.
But it's weird for me to like feel bad for a billionaire of like, I hope Beyonce is okay. I hope she's okay. I
know. And everyone listening is like, Beyonce will be fine.
By the way, we're the only people that are insane. People are like literally rolling their. I was watching old YouTube videos with a buddy last night of Beyonce and Jay-Z. We were watching like Coachella performances because, by the way, the first weekend of Coachella is this next week. Get ready for the fashions. Vanessa Hudgens comes out of a deep, dark cave and comes out. If she sees her shadow, she gets to go to Coachella and do fall fashions. But Coachella was always like this kind of amazing thing for celebrities. And this is the first Coachella where both weekends are not sold out. We got Bad Bunny headlining Friday night, Blackpink on Saturday, and Frank Ocean on Sunday. So very eclectic group of musicians, but it's not sold out. And I'm so curious because I remember so many, not just blind items, but just the TMZ, all of the pictures of all of the celebrities. Like, I wonder what we're going to get this next weekend, what we can expect.
Yeah, I didn't even know it wasn't sold out. That's wild.
Well, like, remember when it used to, like, that's all, like, I mean, I used to be obsessed with Coachella, and now it's like, oh, it's next weekend. Like I used to think about it for like months leading up. I used to go to everyone, and now I'm kind of like, oh yeah, that's happening.
Did it get bad press at some point, like during COVID for refunds or something?
I think
Wasn't
there
there
were well,
some kind
there
of bad press surrounding it?
there was a bunch of things. There was like COVID regulations that didn't actually like they had COVID regulations, then they took it back. And then the booking kind of went from an alternative music festival to what is now a pop music festival in a lot of
Right.
ways because the old days the headliners were like Arcade Fire or Paul McCartney or Nine Inch Nails or LCD Sound System, and now it's Blackpink. And those fans are like so amazing, and Blackpink is amazing in its own right, but I think it's the growth of a festival that can't be what it once was because alternative rock music doesn't really exist the way it once did.
And I wonder if the age of the fans is the reason it's not sold out. I don't know how old you have to be to go to the festival, but Blackpink has like a lot of young fans.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, that's the thing. And all the fans that like started with Coachella 20 plus years ago, we're in our 40s and we're, I mean, I went last year and I mean, I got looks up and down of like, what the hell are you why is grandpa here? Like, are you okay, sir? Are you, like, I'm like, I can do drugs with the best of you. Like I was just doing a pirate voice the whole weekend, but it's really sad, these things. But like in terms of overall growth, I can see that they're trying to change a little bit so they can grow with the times. But I feel like, well, that's what I feel like, because Justin Bieber has came out at the last two Coachellas, like Ariana Grande, and then last year he did Georgia Peaches with somebody last year, and I'm wondering if like he'll stop touring, but he'll do the one-offs like headline Coachella down the line.
Well, I could see that.
Yeah,
that seems doable.
Okay, a couple little hits. Are you watching Succession or Yellowjackets?
I'm not watching either.
Kelly, what is wrong with you? You below
Listen,
deck? Like, what
listen,
you scared of scripted television? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in love now. I don't watch scripted television.
Ryan,
Come on.
I've been trying to keep up with you Bravo people. You guys are so busy. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll dip a toe in.
It's not worth it. Well, anyways, Succession. I'll do a little mini recap of Succession, whatever tonight's episode is, after the episode tonight. That'll be at the beginning of the show. Remember, there are always timestamps on this show. But Yellowjackets and Succession, Succession is 4th season, 2nd episode, and Yellowjackets, its 2nd episode premieres tonight. I think you would really dig Yellowjackets. I really, really do.
That.
I kind of am not loving the 2nd season so far, but I'm going to give it a chance. April Fools. Did you do any good April Fools jokes? Anything happen to you April Fools wise this year?
I hate when pranks are played on me, but I did make a fake TMZ post saying Laguna Beach was coming back to Paramount Plus.
Oh, I saw
but
it.
I've done that every year, so I don't feel as bad.
What is the April Fool's joke that you saw that you were like, oh, that's gross. That's not right. That's not cool.
I don't know if I saw any. I did see Snooki and JWoww put out something that they were like going to have another spinoff. And when that wasn't real, I was kind of upset.
Oh, what do you, isn't that cool that Sammy Sweetheart is coming back to Jersey?
I'm so excited.
And everybody's like, that's Sam, but I think I can totally see that looks like Sammy. People are like, that's Sammy. She just looks older. That's Sammy Sweetheart.
I think she looks the most like herself.
Yeah, I think she just looks beautiful. And because Ron he's not a full-time cast member anymore. Mm-hmm. Will Ron like try to like get back to like be able to hang out with Sammy? Because speaking of Justin and Selena, that will always be his Selena.
Yeah. I hope he doesn't come back. I think Ronnie is way better out of the spotlight.
But what else? But like, what's he going to, I always think it's like those bats are like, what are they going to do with their lives? Like Ronnie doesn't have a vocation. Like, what is Ronnie going to do?
I did read he's opening a sneaker store in Miami, Ryan.
Never mind. Okay.
As a sneakerhead, I know you're going to be there.
I have a lot of nice old Navy shoes. I'm definitely going to be there. Good for, he'll probably be so successful at that. Great. Okay. Well, I saw one that really bummed me out. Well, I got pranked. Maritza, who works on the show, on Saturday, like I'm at my most vulnerable when I wake up in the morning and I don't realize what's real and what's not. And I check my phone and I get all of these emergency texts of like, yo, fool, wake up, emergency, emergency, emergency. And I see, you guys know my passion for Counting Crows, Adam Duritz. It's just, I grew up with them and I love them so much. And Maritza's like, holy shit, Adam Duritz is at Schwartz and Sandy's with Tom Schwartz, and had a beautiful had Schwartz and Sandy's, the logo, the whole thing. Schwartz and Sandy's had Instagrammed it out, and it was a picture of Adam Duritz with Schwartz all looking happy. And I was like, no fucking way. No, are you kidding? And I was so bummed. I was like, how is that even? And then it took me like 5 minutes to wake up to realize like, no, I know Counting Crows tour schedule. They're in Australia right now. There's just no way. But like it got me that moment of waking up and then realize, and that's what I want to, I think April Fool's Day jokes will work in the future, but you've got to get it that specific for people. You
Yeah,
can't do
for sure.
broad ones.
No.
The one I saw that I hated the most was I saw Raquel Leviss pregnant from Tom Sandoval. And I just thought, like, that's not even fun. I don't know. That's not even, and I was like, am I just getting an old fuddy duddy? But I'm like, that's not even funny. That's just like mean.
Yeah, I agree. That is a mean one. But I do think these two are going to stay together. I do think Raquel and Sandoval will end up.
Why do you think?
They gotta. Like,
that's what everybody keeps saying. Do you think it's to prove something? Do you think it really is 1 in a million love? Because I'm sorry, I hate to be that jaded person that was married and divorced, but like love can sometimes like it's I don't know. Like I don't have the same opinion on love that I used to. So I know things can go away. Like I don't believe in just that. Like, oh, he was in a relationship with Ariana for 9 years, met Raquel, and he's like, that's the one. I just don't believe that.
Yeah, I think unless she can get back in the good graces of the girls on the show, they'll stay together.
But if you watch reality television, there's no way she won't eventually, and I hate to say this, she'll be able to eventually get there because these people are trying to film and trying to make a living. And like Lala is like a hustler. She has taken every interview out there. She was on E! News this weekend. Like her being able to speak about a topic that doesn't involve her directly is awe-inspiring. That's why I think she's like decent at podcasting and stuff, because she'll wax poetic about everything and kind of like not really be able to internalize what's going on with her to the audience.
Yeah, for sure.
In terms of your week, what are you doing tonight? What are you doing this week? What is up? What are you and Troy doing in terms of your next couple of episodes?
Yeah, we have some fun episodes coming up. This week we have two guests. We're going to be talking about The Bachelor, which I'm excited about because I've never really gotten into that show.
Oh no, are you going to watch all like seasons of The Bachelor now? There's too many. You'll die.
I'm going to watch some clips, some best of clips. And I feel like I follow them enough, like in Blind Item-y, and TMZ tells me everything I need to know about them.
Well, Mike Fleiss got removed from The Bachelor this week. The executive producer, creator of The Bachelor. I'm sure you guys are going to talk about Mike Fleiss because there's been so much heat about that guy, and he is now removed from The Bachelor, and they've now handed the reins over to 2 new producers that will be producing The Bachelor and The Bachelorette.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, Mike Fleiss has a wild history. There's actually a great book on the Bachelor franchise by Amy Kinnaman, who's the reporter for the Los Angeles Times that broke the Randall Emmett story. And It's really, really good. I forgot her, but her name's Amy Kinnaman, and she's an excellent reporter, but she did a deep dive Bachelor book that came out about 4 years ago that's excellent.
Thank you. I wrote down those names, so I will.
I'm like, know what you need to look into. Okay, so you're doing that with Troy. How many episodes go into a season, and are you still working in the same style about how you're putting episodes together? What have you guys learned in the previous 3 seasons?
We've definitely learned to put certain people behind the paywall because their fans will find you. And even like reality.
What does that mean? Just mean like they'll really attack if you.
A lot of
your Khloe Kardashian episode still gets brought up to me by random people. They'll be like, I listened to this Khloe Kardashian episode. That was insane. And I'm like, Beyond the Blinds. I'm like, yep.
Yeah, that's definitely probably one of our most favorite episodes of people. But yeah, people will get really upset. Our ratings get attacked pretty quick, but also even like the teen moms, that's probably one of the favorite episodes we've done, but they have a lot of time on their hands. So if they're going to listen to it, they're going to give us $5.
Wait, do you have 5 more minutes? Do you have 5 more minutes?
Yeah, however long.
Okay. 2 things, because I'm TikTok. I love TikTok, but I don't really, work it a lot, but I just love flipping, but I always get you want more? I'll give you more. And like, she just discovered the bold glam feature. And I didn't know what, I at first I couldn't tell if it was like a joke account or whatever. And it was just like reading blinds, but I just noticed. And by the way, I think she talked about you guys on one of the TikToks I saw very positively, but she got into it with Janelle from Teen Mom. I noticed, and she accused Janelle of doxing her of like, revealing private information about her, calling her trans when she is not a trans woman. And I was like, that's classic Janelle in every way.
Yeah. So that's so wild. So that's Kyle Marissa. I think she's great. But Janelle like found her sister's Instagram and started DMing her sister and being like, "Are
Kyle
you
Marissa's
related?"
sister.
Kyle Marissa's sister, and being
Yeah.
like, "Are you related to her?" and all this stuff. And I DM'd her and I was like, "Hey girl, that's why we put that episode behind a paywall, because Janelle is crazy."
Well, like, so Kyle Marissa probably said something about Janelle or did a blind about Janelle, right? And that just fired up
Yeah,
Janelle.
she talked about how Janelle lost custody, then got custody back of Jace. Like, it was most recent. Barbara finally signed the paperwork over, and Jace is back in Janelle's custody on the land. So,
oh no,
digest that real quick.
What happened to David?
He's still there. He lives on the land as well.
They're still together?
They are.
Dude, I tapped out. Well, I mean, I tapped out first time I saw him, but I tapped out when I heard he like shot their family dog. I was like,
Yep.
Are you out of your mind? Like, how would you ever, like, wouldn't you just like say, I'm going to stop defending myself and my family? We're too much, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, she even moved to Nashville at one point to try and be like, I'm getting away from David. And then people are like, we just saw you and David in 12 South. You guys are still living, like, you're still together.
No, I'm here with Jay Cutler right now, and we're hanging out. And finally, because I did mention Khloe Kardashian, I would be remiss to say, and I've now forgotten this over a week, is that this is the first time in history where we got a Kardashian trailer for season 3 of their Hulu show. It was only 35 seconds, and it's like, if a tree falls in the woods without anybody there, and does it make a sound? Like, this Kardashian trailer made zero, I feel like, waves in terms of like anybody giving an actual shit about it. Do you have this thing? Because I saw it and I was like, yeah, there's like Khloe going, you think our life's not crazy? Well, I hate to inform you, it's so crazy. And like, show us, don't tell us. Like, it was just a lot of nothing. Like, did you get anything from that trailer?
No, but I'm also a very big Kardashian hater, and I can admit that. So I have like,
I'm love hate. I just feel like we might be I mean, never count the Kardashians out, but like, knock on wood, could we be at a time where they really might not I mean, they're always going to be billionaires and be fine and well off, but do we really, I mean, I feel like we had such a nice little break. We've got to really, as a society, get together. Like, do we really want to keep going with them, or could we jump ship at this time and just go put our attentions elsewhere?
I almost feel like they're kind of like flopping. I don't love the term flop, even though I do bop or flop every week, but I feel like they're kind of like flopping. I feel like people aren't as excited about them as they used
That's
to.
it. Well, that's it. I always like gauge my own personal excitement, and I always delude myself into thinking that's everybody's excitement. And I'm like, everybody loves the new Counting Crows album. The excitement is palpable. But I really felt that with the Kardashians, where that came out, I forgot to post it, like, and I forgot to talk about it. And if I'm forgetting to talk about the Kardashians, I feel like that says something, because I used to talk about them every episode and I would get lambasted for it because so many people dislike them. But my thing was always, you got to study it from a pop culture perspective, like Khloe, where there's so many moves happening that it's like Succession, this family of like rich people. You've got to study the moves they're making. But we could potentially be at a point of like, do the emperors have any clothes anymore? Like, Kim has Skims, Kylie has the makeup, Courtney has Travis, Kendall, you know, she's tall, you know, I mean, like, you know, they all have their thing, but maybe they can just go off and do their thing, and we know they're going to be okay. Like, is there what's in it for us as viewers of their reality television show when we already live their reality television show every day on social media?
I think the second generation is going to be coming out real soon. Even though North is only like 10 or 11, I think
did you see how much North is worth already?
Yeah.
It's like, damn.
I think they're getting ready to ramp that up. And I did see like Chris posted a few things about Tristan, and now people are like, are him and Khloe back? Probably.
Well, that's what I've heard, is that, you know, it just came out this week that he has a house less than a quarter mile away from Khloe, which I'm just like, Tristan, you don't want to be like, think this through, dude. Like, I hear they're back and stuff, but it's like, I just feel like Khloe's not allowed to be around enough people anymore. So Tristan's like one of the only people she still talks to. So like, if you have one person to choose from, it's like, if like the desert island theory of if you were alone on a desert island with one guy, you got to be with that guy. I feel like she doesn't see anybody else.
Yeah. I mean, they're really trying with Kendall and Bad Bunny, but even that's been quiet.
That's boring. I mean, it's like, we all kind of like laugh at Bad Bunny a little bit. I don't think that helped either of them. And there's no excitement in that. Okay. So finally, what is exciting to you? If it's not the Kardashians, what is your number one thing you're looking forward to this week, potentially, besides to talk about The Bachelor? Is there any stories that you're like, this is piquing my interest?
Honestly, not really. I actually feel like, you know how we were talking about the oversaturated stuff?
Yeah.
I definitely feel that, which isn't good considering I co-host a pop culture podcast, but it's just so much. And I think there is a part of me that's like, this is all fucking fake and I can't even feed into it. Like, do you feel that way? I know you're not.
Yeah, no, that's what I was talking about.
The
the Vanderpump Rules stuff kind of got me like amped up again, but now I'm kind of like on the I feel the back end of that for a little bit, where I'm starting to get that kind of weird depression of like, now I'm looking at these other pop culture stories and it's not hitting for me like it used to, and I'm like, oh, another bullshit. Like, I don't want this bullshit card down. I'm trying to find what makes this interesting to me now, and I'm like, are we now moving on to the pop culture in our own lives? Are we moving on to like, like, hey, what does a relationship fully look like? What does hiking look like? Like, what is these things that I've put off in my own life for years? Maybe is that where I should be putting my attentions instead? Because the same stuff keeps happening and I'm trying to find overall excitement about it. And this week it's been hard.
Yeah, honestly, I can't wait to see what Emrata does next. I think she's become like the new Pete Davidson, which is exciting.
But
nice.
every dude, I had like one of Olivia Wilde's best friends reached out to me last week, and I told him, I put him in touch with Damon, and this was a reputable person that was like, Emrata was actually good friends with Olivia Wilde, and Olivia Wilde confided in Emrata about like, because her and Harry still like, FaceTime, like there's, they split apart, but they were still very close, and she's very much in love with Harry Styles. And then she went off and made out with him, knowing all of this information that Olivia Wilde had entrusted with her. And Olivia Wilde supposedly last Sunday was like, felt completely betrayed. And it's so weird to think about it like that, because sometimes you think celebrities, you think, oh, they're so, I don't know, not further than us or anything like that, but it just they don't have feelings like we do. And then to hear that somebody's completely destroyed by looking at that Emrata kiss, and you're just like, oh, wild. And then Emrata like had to call and like say, I'm so sorry. But at first she told her, she said, oh, I thought you were more sexually advanced than this, or something like that. I thought you were more sexually evolved than this, Emrata told Olivia Wilde, supposedly.
Honestly, that video of them making out reminded me of the video from the movie Signs when the aliens caught at the birthday party. Like, that was one of the worst videos I've ever seen. And like, well, I believe you, Ryan. I believe that someone reached out to you and was like, Olivia's so heartbroken. I do not believe that they like Harry's looking at the camera.
That's what I'm saying. They obviously, I was told that Harry doesn't get drunk a lot, was wasted. But I said, okay, but I've never been drunk enough. Like, there's still some foundation. Like I'll get to blackout sometimes, but also I don't know if I would even be willing to get to blackout if I was at the fame level of Harry Styles, because I would know. And then you have Emrata, who looks like she's like on him of like, no, keep going. Yeah. And then I read so many think pieces this week. Is Harry Styles a bad kisser? And that's like I love that was where everybody was like, Harry Styles looks like he might be a bad kisser. And it really seemed to make a dent in the public consciousness.
Yeah, talking about Harry Styles is always like an iffy subject, but I think Harry Styles, for me, he comes off very inauthentic. And I think he's really bad at playing the press. Like, he's just, even the way he dresses and stuff, like, to me, it's just not authentically being Harry. I think it's someone in his ear being like, this is a space that we can fill, right? Because his first album was so different from what he does now. And maybe he found the right producer, maybe he found whatever. But there was a space where no male was dressing crazy. Like, there was no Elton John, Mick Jagger. Guess what, Harry? Yeah. Let's throw you in there. So you're not against Niall, because you and Niall, your sounds were kind of similar.
Well, I mean, I hope somebody one day does a documentary about what happened after One Direction broke up in terms of each one of those guys. Because who's the guy that just like was on the red carpet and they're like, he got buccal fat removal?
Oh, Liam Payne.
And Liam Payne was also the guy that did the podcast with one of the Paul brothers that said he was like the lead of One Direction.
But what's so crazy is like Liam Payne was allegedly groomed by Cheryl. I forget her last name.
Cheryl Lee Ralph. No, I'm joking. From Abbott Elementary, yeah.
Cheryl, she's big in England, but she met him when he was 13, and then they had a baby together when he was like 19 or 20.
So wow. Cheryl Cole.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not Sheryl Crow, but it's close.
It'd be great. Sheryl Crow grooms boy bands. She does. So Beyond the Blinds, episode 5, season 4 will come out this Wednesday. When is your release date? Thursday. But then if you really want to get, and I hate, when I say this as a grown man, if you really want to get the tea, if you really want to get the hot scalding tea, go to their Patreon, patreon.com/Beyond the Blinds, and you can be a part of that community. And it really is like, I see you guys everywhere, especially on TikTok. Your names will pop up all the time and I'll get all like, yee! And also see us pretty soon on a GoFundMe for our reality show that we're going to be coming up with very soon. Me, Kelly, other pop culture commentators will be in the Summer House soon, right, Kelly?
Yeah, and even if we don't get a house, we can just stay in my little New York apartment. However many of us, we can't.
Okay, Summer House is out. We're just going to actually camp up outside of Kelly's apartment in New York, and we're just going to walk the cities with a big malt beverage, just screaming about Harry Styles. What else is coming up for you? Anything to support you with besides Beyond the Blinds right now?
No, just Laguna Biotch on Instagram, Beyond the Blinds for the podcast, Twitter.
Oh, yeah, Laguna Biotch, you guys, if you want to get an account taken down, Laguna Biotch, it's BIO2TC. I don't want you guys to misspell that.
BIO2. It is BIO2CH.
BIO2CH. Oh, and also, this just goes without saying, and I'll probably say this in the intro as well, but go rate Beyond the Blinds 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify right now. It is if you can't afford to join the Patreon right now, it is one of the easiest, freest ways to show your support. These things, so much research go into them. It really does take a mental and spiritual toll that we do of our own volition. I'm not saying that anybody asks us for this, but consider leaving a review. She took the time to be with us today. So just do a solid, go subscribe. It truly, if you have not discovered them, I always love when you come on because a whole wave of people will be like, I didn't even know. And it's amazing. And I'm like, yes, I mean, you should have known already. So Kelly, Beyond the Blinds, I really, really appreciate it. And I love you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. And let's go turn on our galaxy lights.
Oh my God. Tell your lady I said, what up?